Okay, I am pushing record. I am sharing my screen. And now I am here to welcome my dear friend, Christina Jennings. We go back almost 30 years now. And you know what I'm going to say because I always have to say this. I have the honor and privilege of being the person who introduced her to her husband. And how long have you guys been married now?
28.
28 years. You're right behind. Yeah, 28 years. And he was our son's godfather, still is. And you got jumped in on that deal. Anyhow, Christina, thank you so much for being willing to do this because some people I've chatted with are newer friends and you've known me a really long time. And so I'm really interested to hear your thoughts and your question.
Well, I'm going to ask a question in a minute, but I have to tell you how eternally grateful I am that you went up to me at that party with your intuition, which I think plays into this album. That you're a very intuitive person, a sensitive person. You pick up signals at a very crowded party. And she stuck her hand out and said, "Hi, my name's Heather. I've got the perfect guy for you." And I said, "Okay." I don't know why I was game. I think just looking at her face and it just made me feel trust that she was trustworthy. And she pulled me next door to her house, pulled out a scrapbook and said, "Here he is. He's a family man. What do you think?" He called me 3 weeks later and that was it. So if any of you are looking for husbands or wives, she can double as a matchmaker.
I think the intuition part, though, I get what you're saying. That's really interesting. All right, so tell me how that connects to the album and what you want to ask.
Well, I've really enjoyed it, just by the way. It's such a beautiful banquet of songs, and that you got all your friends to record and put their own spin on your words and music. It was really something, and I can't wait to just delve more into it, listen to it over and over and over again, because the new thing now is listening to albums as a whole instead of just picking out songs. Did you know that? Like, that's a big trend now.
Well, and it really is written as a journey. It's written to be listened to all the way through. Yeah.
Well, I could pick apart several different songs and just ask you different aspects about them. But I think most interesting to me was the fact that this album was kind of delivered to you celestially or heavenly, divinely, and that fascinates me. And I wonder why you think that happened to you. Were you asking for something like that? Were you asking for musical um, inspiration or a musical gift from above? Or if you feel like with all the other work you've done in divinity that it just planted uh, an appropriate ground for God to funnel it through you.
That is such a good question. I mean, even when you told me you were gonna interested in this idea, you said it in a way that's hitting me. Was it something that I was asking for? And that's really interesting. Um, I think that I was, but not knowing that it was music. What was happening for me, like over the last 5 years, and since I finished my master's, and I started doing a lot of writing and teaching in the theological space because I feel like there's so much just disconnect between what pastors are saying and what people are actually hearing, and it's just kind of like you guys need to get on the same page. And there was stuff I was doing trying to do some bridge work and all that was really good and it felt important and necessary, but I knew because you know my heart, like I'm a heart person. I'm an artist. I write memoir. I write things that you feel things, and yes, I can teach, I can do that, but I was just dying to return to my heart work. That is what my prayer was. And I was just, and as I was writing a whole memoir thinking, oh, I'll go back and do another big memoir. And it was like, I could just feel there was just so much stuff, but the pulse wasn't there. And I did a 2-year program in spiritual direction. And that, I think, is the thing that prepared me to receive kind of like all these songs, although I heard a couple of them before I started the program. And then I just put them on hold because what do you do with that? Like,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know. I don't have any musical.
yeah.
I'm not a musician. You know what I mean? I learned I had an app on my phone and that's what I knew. But I have found the more now that I read about other songwriters or other musicians, it's pretty common for them to refer to songs or certain special songs at least as like, oh, I didn't really write it, I received it, and whether they're people of faith or not, I mean, a song is a spiritual thing. It's not a material thing. You can't put your hand on it. It exists here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the words and the music and the notes and the feelings and
It does
everything would come from
exist.
it.
Does
So
it exist?
I say again.
You say it exists up here, but does it exist until it hits you?
I mean, when it comes out, that when
Oh,
you listen
comes
to
out.
like when you listen to a song, right? Like you can't hold that song, it's internalized. No, so I don't think it did. And so yeah, I think for me it was an answer to prayer of help me return to my heart work, help me have a way to love and serve that is more authentic to me as a creative person, and that allows my heart to be the thing that spills over. Out of your heart will come rivers of living water. Let that be. But it wasn't. Yeah, it was all a surprise. It's all has been a surprise. But yeah, it's been a neat thing to be a vessel for it, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I feel that way, and I don't have the burden of someone who's been a musician all their life, and oh, now I've got to build my platform as a performer or a singer songwriter or whatever. It's just like no, I'm good at this part, and I've got 4 songs now in different stages of production since the album came out. Different
You
people
have 4 more?
that are it's become my joy. Like each one, I'm getting better. I learn more. You love each one like a little baby, but I like to be able to gift them to someone. Like, I think your voice would be great for this. And then it's like a gift to them and it wakes them up and feels special and alive. And then, get the whole thing arranged. And that then becomes my joy. I get to invite people into a conversation about meaning. And so it's good, whether they're people of faith or not. It doesn't even matter. It matters to me that they hear something in the song and they can bring it to life.
Yeah, the heart connections, like you were saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, well, I just find that fascinating and so encouraging because, we're at the ages where we are, and it's so delightful to imagine that through a prayer, something entirely new could come into your life that you never dreamed of, never really thought about. And so not only was your prayer answered, you got to tap more into your heart, but you also got a whole new way to express your heart that you never really thought about. And to learn how to compose music, that is not a small feat. And your husband's a musician, so you've been around it your whole marriage. And
He's a drummer. That doesn't count. He doesn't even read music.
that is a musician. Okay, come on, I'm out. I'm watching out for you. But that is just it's spectacular that it happened that way, and it really intrigues me that it would take you're a writer. You're a writer, so you were thinking, oh, this will lead me into some kind of a new book, but it brought you into songwriting,
Yeah.
music making, not just songwriting, music making.
Yeah, it's giving me so much joy. It's giving me so much joy. So I'm glad that you heard that. And I guess I will just close by saying thank you for reminding people that when they pray with their whole heart, like, show me my heart's desire, that, and they listen, who knows what might happen. Anyhow, I love you. Thank you for making time, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too, Heather.
Okay. Bye. I'm going to stop recording.